Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Kiona, and this is my talk series channel where I give key tips, key advice, and it's called That's Key. If you guys are new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you do like the video and the content I give, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. But we are in my single series, and so I'm kind of going through my journey of singleness and what that looked like for me from the very beginning. And I still am single, but just kind of how I've grown and matured and became the woman that I am today through that whole entire journey. So we left off talking about heartbreak and how that affected me. And that's such a pivotal point because that was like the turning point for me. I'll briefly summarize, but you guys can find the full video down below, or just go through my channel and watch through the series. But I talked about how that was the moment I decided that I didn't want to go through that type of experience again in any way, shape, or form. So being the woman that I used to be, or the young girl I was, dealing with the type of person I was dealing with, the whole entire thing, like I was just like, I don't want to do it anymore. And so when I came out of that relationship, in those past relationships, I was like, okay, we have to start somewhere. And also to briefly summarize, I had started finding God and building that relationship, and I was like, okay, we have to heal. And I kind of look back on what put me into that situation as far as like where I was as a person and where I hadn't healed in different areas, and just to talk about kind of the healing I needed to do just in general. And I found out I had trauma. I had a lot of childhood trauma that was overlooked, and probably at that age I didn't even understand what that was to its entirety. But as I was growing and learning and wanting to heal, I learned what it was very quickly. And I was like, okay, I went through XYZ as a child, and because of that, it led me to this type of attachment. So we're going to further dive into that. My very major thing that I was going through as a child was neglect of my emotions, neglect of being shown attention. And it's not to say that my parents are amazing parents, by the way. Nobody's perfect, but this is just, I have to share this journey because this is very real to me, and I think it could help other people. But yeah, my childhood was amazing. I was not struggling by any means, but I felt like I was neglected in those ways. And when I look back at my relationship, I know that I formed a very heavy attachment on attention. When I was shown attention through like me expressing my emotions, or when I was shown attention just by someone wanting to be around me, I clung on to that heavily. Like I really was like, okay, because this person is giving me so much attention, like I need this, like I can't let this go. Like it was very much so an attachment style that could have to this day been hindering me in relationships if I let it. And it made me, as also the person that was having the attachment, it made me be toxic in some ways, because when you have an attachment, what you don't realize is you really put a lot of weight on another person because they're filling a void, and because that person was filling the void, they had to carry weight. And I think when it comes to relationships, you have to be very mindful of the other person, and you want to be very much so healed and in a good place and doing for yourself in many other ways than you would want to depend on a person. Like right now, I'm very sufficient. I can give myself the love that I want. I have all the love in the world for myself and in other people, and those relationships are healthy. God has shown me love and shown me that in a new perspective. Like I'm just in a whole different space now where a partner isn't coming in to make me happy, or a partner isn't coming in to fill a void, because I don't need that. Which also allows me to be into a situation where like I can just have someone solely dependent on the fact that I want them around. It doesn't have to involve needing them for any other reason other than wanting them around, wanting them because they make my life better and they make me better and they make me happy. I think that's very important when it comes to relationships, because when you depend on other people or you're lacking something in your life, it could very much so weigh heavily on the relationship. So with that being said, I know it's kind of like a detour, but I want to make sure I say that because this was one of the best things I've ever done in my single journey. One of the best things I've ever done was look at my trauma and where I needed to be healed, and what I needed to work on. And so yeah, I went through that, and just a lack of self-love too. I will say that too. Like, I had a lack of self-love. I would even say growing up, but I just developed that over time just because of things that I went through that was nothing I can control, but things that I have went through that I allowed to really heavily take over, like my mindset and where I was in life and kind of what I wanted in life. I know I probably said this in another video, I think my first video if I'm not mistaken, but I was in a space where I didn't even want a relationship, and to hop into a relationship where I was like, I don't even want to get married, and I was in just a very hurt place. To hop into a relationship when I did want to get married, didn't want a boyfriend, etc. That was very like, I don't know, not mindful of me to do that. It wasn't the best thing to do. So, yeah, I had to really like decipher where those emotions came from, and it wasn't that I would say I had a relationship hurt me to get to that point. It was just like what I had been seeing growing up, and kind of like a very heavy situation that was going on in my life at the time, on a whole nother relationship that was outside of me, but it affected me because the person or the people involved were very close to me, very, very, very close to me. And so seeing them go through that, it just had changed my mindset on love. And sometimes we don't realize how heavily we depend on influence. And I had to kind of also say, hey, Kiona, you can't depend on this person or this relationship or whatever the case is for the influence of what you want to see in your life or what can happen for you in your life. And when I totally separated myself from that viewpoint, and I clung on to just trusting that I can have what I wanted and desired, and I can do the work to be the best, healthiest person that I can be and make sure that I'm in the best situation, which leads me to trust myself to put myself in any further situations going forward. It was just like, okay, boom, I do want marriage. I want marriage, I want kids, I want all that. And so, yeah, it's just trauma, y'all, that is a big thing. I think a lot of people suffer from it in many ways, even outside of relationships. You can suffer from it mentally, just how you operate in life. You can have the spirit of black. You can have all these different types of things going on that affect how you live your life and how you move forward in life. And healing is the most important piece of this message. If you guys don't understand anything else, we need to heal. And if you need to be single to heal, because some people do, a lot of people allow another person or a relationship affect them so heavily where they just cannot focus on themselves. So if you need to be single to heal, I would definitely recommend doing so. If you're in a relationship and you can do both, do it. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do, I always recommend healing. It is okay to sit with yourself. It is okay to be alone for a while. It is okay to hurt a little bit, to cry it out, to feel. I think we need to break away from this stigma that you have to be strong all the time. One of my most hated compliments, guys, that I heard all the time going through my healing journey was, "You're so strong." Y'all, and let me tell you, I was tired, sick and tired of being strong. I was like, bruh, I don't want to be strong. I want to be like a baby. I want to be weak for once. But it's I had no other choice. But what I realized too is I can find my strength for me and myself, and I found my strength through God. I found my strength and giving it to God and giving my worries and whatever else to God and trusting that He can help me be strengthened in these moments. But y'all, me doing it by myself, I was like, no. If I keep doing it by myself, I'm gonna break. But you know, I learned to just grow so beautifully, and like this is just like a heavy topic for me, but it was such another pivotal moment. It like came back to back for me when I started my single journey, where it was like, okay, boom, I went through this breakup, which had changed like my mindset and kind of perception and who I was. And then I went through my healing journey, deciphering my trauma and going through what I needed to do just to be who I am today. And yeah, I don't want to talk too much in depth on it, because I think like that says enough as far as like trauma and healing goes. But y'all, I had to like break it down that way. I feel like this, if you don't take nothing else from whatever I talk about in this series, which I hope y'all take some great things from this series, because I'm going to talk about a lot of great things, some good things as well. This is all good. But we got to talk about the negative, because the negative brought me through to something positive. But this is something that I really want to like, y'all need to take something from this. But don't worry, we got some great things to talk about. Stay tuned, because you know we're gonna continue this series. Like, it didn't just stop at healing for me. Like, I went further, I went deeper, and yeah. I don't know what else to say. But if you guys like this video, please make sure to give this video again a thumbs up. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, hit that subscribe button, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.